What's up guys, welcome back to the Stratosphere, and in today's video we're going to be installing the newly released Crawford Manifold spacers. That sounds interesting to you? Let's hop into it. Also, I want to say a huge shout out to Crawford for sending me a free shirt with this order. They get a 10 in my book. So, let's get into this. Okay guys, so here are the blocks that we're going to be installing today. As you see, it comes with both of them, hardware, a bunch of stickers. Like I said, they hooked me up with a t-shirt. That's pretty awesome. So, for those of you that don't know what manifold spacers are for, on Crosstreks, obviously they're naturally aspirated. The only problem with naturally aspirated vehicles is that they're starving for air without turbos. So basically what these are for are to increase the overall housing of the intake runners. That way you can take in more air. So in turn, this allows your intake to take in more of that air. Being that I have a cold air intake, it takes in a lot of air, but being that it's naturally aspirated and it does not have that much, I guess, what am I trying to say, volume within the housing, it can't take in all that air that I'm bringing in from the intake. So most of it's just getting drowned out, choked out, before it even actually enters the engine bay. So what this does is give the housing more of a volume, to where it's just here. This adds like an extra inch to where we can get more airflow in here to get into the engine bay. So in turn, with that, more air into the block means more power. So they have this dyno test and it guarantees up to about 10 horsepower, about 22 pounds of torque. So that's pretty huge. But yeah guys, enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and get into this install. It's gonna be kind of tedious, so I'm gonna try and walk you guys through it as best as I can, and we'll struggle through this together. So we'll see you guys at the car. Oh, and last thing before I forget, you do not need a tune if you're going to run these intake manifold spacers. You do not need a tune. Alright guys, so the first step we're going to want to do is we're going to remove the tower strut brace and the engine cover. Things first, what we're going to do is we're going to be taking off the intake tube. So what we're going to do is first take off the breather hose. Now for peace of mind, just for me, I'm going to be marking everything up with just kind of like a sticky note. That way I know what needs to go back in place when I go back to reinstall everything. It just helps me. Now we're going to loosen up the crash guard. We're going to loosen, take out the bolts, not remove. Also, it would help to have a magnet. I actually don't have one, so hopefully I don't drop anything. Yeah. Alright guys, now we're going to remove the driver's side wire harness, which is going to be this guy right here. And there's also a connector right here that we're going to need to remove to pull it away from the manifold. Alright guys, so next we're going to be removing the TGV connector, which is this little guy right here. I hope it's coming up on camera, but it's this little silver guy right here. Okay. Now we're going to remove the map sensor. Alright guys, so now we're going to be removing the evap purge line and the PCV line, which is going to be this line right here and this bottom line right here. Now there's a red nipple that connects the evap line, so we're just going to mark that off the tape so we know where it goes. Connects to here. And now we're going to work on the PCV valve. So right here, it goes down to the PCV. And when we get down to it, I'll take you guys in a little closer to see that we're going to need to cap it off just to prevent some leakage and stuff like that. But pretty simple. There's the PCV valve down there. You should be able to see it, so we're just going to cap that off with some tape just to prevent debris and stuff from getting in it. Alright guys, now that that's done, we're going to pull off the TPS sensor, which is right here. Okay guys, so the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to remove these 4 bolts. Right here, here, up here, I don't know, I can't see, but right here. I'm not going to be able to show you guys the process just because the camera is not going to be able to fit in here while I do this. Alright guys, so this next one's going to be a little difficult to explain, so I'm going to refer to the instructions to show you guys. There's a 10mm bolt really far down. The camera doesn't fit in there, but holding onto the mounting, the EGR tube mounting bolt, that's what we're going to need to remove. Alright guys, so next we're going to move on to removing the evap control solenoid. There's a mounting bolt that's right here that is going to take this whole bracket completely off. So it's back in here. It's hard to show you because it's really tight in there, man. That's what she said. We're going to remove the TGV connector, which is this guy right here. Simply pull it out. Alright guys, now we're going to remove this wire clip right here holding in the evap solenoid little deal. We're going to just take some needle nose, plug it here, and this thing should pop right off. Oh, just kidding. That was for the TGV valve. Now we're going to move the EGR solenoid, which is right here. Alright guys, now we're going to remove the 6 bolts holding in the manifold. 1, 2, 3, and it's going to be exactly the same on the other side. Alright guys, so now that we got all the bolts out, what we're going to do is lift up on the passenger side. This is kind of heavy. I'm going to remove the EGR tubes. Alright guys, got a little ahead of myself, but we're going to be removing this line going into the throttle body right here, and make sure to cap it off to prevent leaks. As you can see, there's already some coolant kind of leaking out of it. Not a big deal. Just cap it up with something. I don't think this tape is going to work, but we're going to try and make it work. We're going to make it work. It's not working, but it's good enough. Alright guys, so we pretty much removed everything. The last thing we got to remove is just this crash guard right here. So just kind of finagle this and kind of slip it out. Alright guys, so now it's time to pull the manifold straight up. Make sure to move any wires that may have been in the way. Just push them out of the way. We should be able to just pull it straight on up. So now back here, we're going to go ahead and rotate that EGR valve and get it out of there 180 degrees. Just going to pull it out like this, and then it comes straight out. Alright guys, the last thing we're going to do is completely remove the EGR solenoid. There are 2 bolts in here, 2 mounting bolts that we're going to be removing. They're 12mm, so we're just going to take those off. So now's the time to install your manifold spacers. I already put the gaskets in there, and all we're going to do is put them in, okay? Alright guys, and that's it, pretty much complete. I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and reinstall everything back, and we'll see you guys at the end. Alright guys, so this is the completed look. If you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but there they are tucked up in there. As you can see, it raised up quite a bit. If you're running the AFE cold air intake system like me, it does come up in, I tried to swivel it around to where it didn't come in contact with this brake line. Sometimes when it gets probably too hot, pipes expand and, you know, it comes a little close to it, but other than that, not a big deal. If you still have the factory one, you won't have any of this problem. I can't reuse this little clip right here, not a big deal. Other than that, again, it did raise everything up like 2 inches, so it sits up pretty high now. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Alright guys, so it's been about 2 weeks or so now. I've broken in the manifold spacers, and I gotta say, first initial impressions, pretty good. She's honestly pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not like my buddy's 600 horsepower Mustang, you know what I mean? But for a really slow Subaru Crosstrek, I did quite a bit to it. Those intake spacers actually helped quite a bit. Because y'all know I'm running a catback system, cold air intake, the pedal commander, and now these spacers. It's forking out, you know, kind of a little bit of horsepower, and it's actually kind of fun now. It's kind of got a little pep in its step. Again, initial impressions, very good, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend if y'all get a chance to get your hands on some of these, definitely do it. Y'all won't be disappointed. The install was tedious, but the outcome is pretty worth it, in my opinion. The Crosstreks are so underpowered, and I'm honestly just trying to fork out everything I can do just to give it as much power, torque as it can. So yeah. But anyway, that's the install, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed. Again, if this helped you out in any way, please smash the like button, share with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up on Instagram at CT_Stratty. And yeah, I'll try and get back to you as quick as possible. But yeah, guys, that will be it for me. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
We gon' be okay, we gon' be alright.